Hi, I'm Ariam, and these are my favorite books that I read in February of 2025. So in February of 2025, that was a book month I read the most books out of all of 2025, even though it's the shortest month, though in 2025 it had 29 days, and even though I had exam period, but I read a lot of really good books. So let's start with my least favorite out of the five that I chose as my favorites. And that is Seeds of Hope, The Gold Rush Diary of Susanna Fairchild by Christiana Gregory. This is a Dear America book, and if you don't know what the Dear America books are, they are a series where you have a girl in various different time periods, and she writes a diary about her experiences, and they're generally very good. This, obviously, there are some better and some worse. This was definitely one of the better ones. So basically, we follow our main character, Susanna, who's around 11, 12, maybe a little older, 13, and she is going with her father and her sister to move to Oregon for her father to set up a practice there, but he gets caught up in the California gold rush, and it just describes them living in the camp and everything she sees there, and it really goes, and it gets actually pretty dark, which makes sense for this. And I thought it did a good job of like handling the darkness with the fact that it's still a kid's book. Um, and then I'll mention Girl Overboard by Justina Chen, sorry, Christiana Gregory. But this is Girl Overboard by Justina Chen. I have read quite a few of Justina Chen's books so far. I read 3 this year. This one was the first one I read this year. Before that, I read one other book by her. And Girl Overboard is absolutely my favorite book by her. I've enjoyed all of her YA books to varying degrees, her middle grade book not so much, but this one I just loved so, so much. So basically this follows our main character, who honestly I forgot her name, but she's a snowboarder. She comes from a very rich family, but she didn't grow up rich. And she's a snowboarder, but the thing is her family situation is kind of messed up. Like, not kind of, it's messed up. She has a very bad relationship with both her parents individually. Her older siblings have her older half siblings have a bad relationship with her. It's just all kinds of messed up, and we basically see her going through this period where she's deciding what she wants to do with her life, and kind of figuring out also what she wants to do with these family relationships, and if she wants to repair them, if she doesn't, if she wants to repair them, how she goes about them. And I thought it was written in a very interesting way, and I love the family relationships in this, and I thought it was so good. Now I'll go for a picture book, which is I Am a Cat by Galia Bernstein. I read a bunch of Galia Bernstein books in February, March, and this one was my favorite out of all of them, but I loved all of them. So Galia Bernstein is an author illustrator of picture books, and they're just so great. I Am a Cat is just a cat who's like a house cat who's saying I'm a cat, and all the big cats are like, no, you can't be a cat, you don't have this. It's like, yes I do, like, you don't have big claws. No, I do have claws. And I thought it was such a wonderful, wonderful little story, and the illustrations were amazing, and the text was great, and it all worked together so well, and I loved it so much. Then I have one physical book to hold up, so I'll do the non-physical book first. I read Sorcery and Cecilia, or The Enchanted Chocolate by Patricia C. Reed and Caroline Sturvermeer. So this is a historical fantasy. I read a ton of historical fantasy this year. You'll see a video of that also coming out, hopefully. But this is an epistolary historical fantasy where we follow 2 cousins. One has gone to London for the debut season. This is Regency era. And the other has stayed at home in the country. And they both kind of get involved with magic and wizards and stuff, which their parents and older relatives really do not approve of. And and I just love the way that as they're writing to each other, you can see like the plots developing and how they connect, and they're connecting stuff. And also, it was really fun, kind of like, because for most of the time they're on the sidelines, and I think that's something that I've been enjoying a lot recently. Characters that are on the sidelines, like not from the perspective of what you would usually see. Like you would usually see this perspective from the wizard, but no, this is perspective just from this young girl who's having her first debut. Well, I guess you can only have one first debut, you know? Well, you know what I mean. She's having her debut season, in her first season. So, yeah, was this book perfect? No, but I loved it so much. And I just gobbled it up. And lastly, I read Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. This is a very soft science fiction story about Clara, who's a robot, an artificial friend, and she gets chosen to be the friend for this very sick girl, and she keeps on trying to cure her. I love this book. I know a lot of people don't like it, and I do understand why, because I do have one major complaint with this book is that I don't think the world building was done enough, and if the world building had been just fleshed out a little more, the message of this book would have been more understandable, I feel like. Kazuo Ishiguro did not get his message strongly enough across because the world building wasn't well done enough. However, I love this book. I loved Clara. I just loved Clara. I loved Clara and I loved following her and seeing seeing the world through her eyes. Seeing the world that she lives in through her eyes.